Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. We're here live on Co-working Live with Red Worldwide, and we are so excited that you are here with us today. Today is Wellness Wednesday, and last week we had a jam-packed session with Wellness Wednesday and Coach Crystal, where we talked about self-sabotage. And so if you missed that one, please, 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 please go to the channel and find it. Okay, go to our website and find it on the website. It's there in the middle of the page. If you scroll down, you'll see all of the co-working sessions, and you can just scroll through and look at the one that was called that was on self-sabotage. It's really a very important episode for you if you are an entrepreneur, business executive, or if you're just doing business. Okay, it's good for anybody, but it's really good if you're in any of those positions, because a lot of times we stop short of being able to do all that we have been designed to do. And so it's important for you to see that and see what to do if you're having struggles in that area, and how you combat it and how do you come back on top. But today we're going to talk a little bit about wellness from the standpoint of the water quality in our workplace. A lot of us are in situations where we work from home, but then there are others of us who we have offices. And wherever you are, though, no matter whether it's in an office or at your home, you need to make sure that your water quality is on par, that it is what it needs to be, so that your bodies are not experiencing things that you normally would not experience, if there was not an introduction of poor water quality into your mix. So with that said, let's take a look at a few things. I apologize a little bit for my voice today, guys. I've been traveling, and so have a little bit of extra stuff that I brought back with me, and so we got to get rid of it today. So give me just a second. I'm drinking nice, clear, clean water. Okay. A few weeks ago, we talked about air quality and how important air quality was to our lives. Okay. And, a lot of people did not realize that our air quality was kind of dictates, what we are experiencing on a daily basis. And so we have to be very careful to, make sure that when we are looking at our water, okay, that the water quality that we have is, what we're supposed to be experiencing. And so we are, just barely looking at all of these things in these seasons, because of the fact that we're finding that there are many of us who've been experiencing, different types of issues. And some of those issues were caused by, us not having the proper nutrients, or the proper rest, or the proper water, okay, the proper air, just some simple things that we can make changes to. And so we're going to be looking at that today, because I think that it's important for us to be able to understand, what we can do to make our environments the best environments for us to work in. And it could be something very, very simple, but not doing it could create a problem, could create an issue for us. So let's take a look and unpack this. What is water quality? Well, water quality itself refers to the chemical, physical, and biological characteristics of water. It's crucial for human health, environmental protection, and industrial processes. And so we use water in just about everything we, cook. Okay. A lot of people don't realize that the water that they're putting in their food could be contaminated or could be creating a problem. For us, it's really simple in our family, because, water is a non-negotiable. I mean, we have to drink quality water. We notice a difference in the way that our bodies operate. And personally, and I mentioned this in another episode, that I was a person that had water poisoning. And so I drank some water that was contaminated with parasites, and it affected my body, and then it affected the body of my unborn child. So I am extremely passionate about water because I know the effects of drinking bad water, or water that's been contaminated with something that could, create a very big problem for you as a person. And I wasn't in another country when it happened. I was actually in California. And so that's a place where we should be, really on par water wise. But unfortunately, not all water sources, have the same processing, you know, I should say processing, or I should say the same process for cleaning processes. And so for that reason, we just have to make sure that we're taking responsibility for our own health, being our own best health detective, and providing ourselves with, the right tools to create, access to the clean water that we, have in this country. Okay, so the first thing we have to look at is physical. The physical portion of the water, the actual H2O, it includes the factors like the temperature, the turbidity, and the odor. So when you're looking at the quality of your water, the characteristics of the water, can really help you to know whether this water is good for you to drink. When you're seeing water at certain temperatures, you might want to consider whether it's good for you to be drinking. And I know you said glass of ice water, and most people are really big on ice water. In other countries, there are places where they don't even put ice in water because they don't consider it to be a healthy practice. Much less, because their palates have become, used to not drinking water that is cold like that. This is just not something that is, a part of what they do. And I'm not here to debate whether cold water is healthy or not. That's not the part that I play today, but I will tell you that it's important for you to do your own research and find out, the temperature of the water. Is this a good characteristic to have the water ice cold? Okay. Does the water smell bad? That could be indicative of something being in the water that it should not have. Or are there particles in the water? That also could be something to tell you that this might not be good water to drink. Okay. The chemical, quality of the water focuses on the presence of dissolved substances like salts, metals, and organic compounds. And some of you might be familiar with the acronym TDS, total dissolved solids. When you have dissolved substances in your water that are not necessarily good for your body, that could create problems. So let's talk about some of what that could be. Well, that could be arsenic. There are some water sources in some cities that have traces of arsenic. There could be fluoride. Sometimes cities put fluoride in the water to make it, more. They say that they're making it better for people to drink, because some people who are in those communities may not have access to fluoride toothpaste or other, rinses and things that they put in their mouth with fluoride. And again, this is not the day for me to debate on whether or not I believe fluoride is good for your body. I will just tell you that this is something that you might find in your water if you live in certain zip code zones, because your city may decide that your water needs to have fluoride to make the citizens in your city safer or healthier. Metals. Sometimes the water has way too many metals, or, maybe not enough, but again, I'm not debating whether metals in your water is a good thing. I'm just saying that you cannot sometimes control how much, silver, gold, and other metal substances is in your water. Okay. And then organic compounds. Sometimes there are organic compounds that are just in the water. They come out of the ground and they come through the pipes with everything else. And so, these are the chemical makeup of the water could also create a problem. And then, of course, there's biomes, biological, characteristics of your water, the presence of microorganisms like bacteria, viruses, and parasites. Okay. And we can't always control all of these things in our water, on a daily basis. Some places have a very good water processing, plant, and other places, not so much. And then sometimes, there are things that are dumped in the water, well-meaning as it is, it does create a problem. Okay, so what is the importance of water quality in your business location? Well, this is really important for you to understand because a lot of people are in their location where they do business for more hours, more waking hours of their day than they're in their home environment. So let me give you, this disclaimer. I want to tell you that I am not representing any type of company or any kind of agenda or anything when I'm talking about water today. I know this is a big issue, with regards to politics, and I'm not recommending any particular type of anything today. What I'm doing is just drawing your attention to something that could be a factor in your business, and it could cause you to be in a situation where you are not well and you don't even realize what it was that made it that way. So we rely on safe and clean drinking water. We rely on safe and clean water to wash our hands when we go to relieve ourselves at the restroom. We rely on, safe water for cooking. Healthy lifestyles require that we have a certain amount of water that's filtering through our body. So, we rely on these things very heavily. And poor water quality can disrupt your business operations. It can impact your health, and it can even damage your equipment if you're using equipment that requires, clean water. So you want to be thinking about, because I always will tell you when we have these sessions, what you want to be thinking about when you're looking at this particular episode today. You want to be thinking about how this impacts your company and how it impacts your potentially your employees. So let's look at employee health. Well, to ensure that safe drinking water is available and that there's a proper hygiene for your employees, but they have the ability to wash their hands, for many different reasons, that's very important to your company. For business operations, maintaining uninterrupted water supply is essential for a lot of processes, especially if you have restaurants or, places that require that you are preparing food. Uninterrupted water, clean water supplies are very, very important, but it also could be important to your customers. Okay. Protecting your company's image and public perception, by making sure you are concerned about and providing clean water sources for everyone that is involved in your company, or everyone that does business with your company is really, really important. Having had been involved in a situation where there's a water incident leads me to make sure that in our environment we have, water, filtered water. And the reason why we do this, we use metering to test our water, and we provide water containers that has good clean water in it. And so I want to just share, let me see if I can do that real quick, because I want to make sure that you can see the water filter that we use. And like, by no means is this, am I sharing this so that you can see it, to go and purchase it, more or less. I just want to show you, an option that you can choose. Okay. So this is zero water. And let me just make sure you guys can see it. Hold on. Okay. There we go. All right. So they've got a little 10% off coupon there today. And um, here, let's see if I can get rid of that. Okay. So it's just a water system, that has a filter that does this 5-stage process where it removes, a good portion of the total dissolved solids out of the actual water so that what you get is clean water to drink. So we use these. We actually take the smaller ones with us when we travel. And we make sure that in our offices we have this particular type of clean water, for whatever our water uses are, with regards to drinking or, watering our plants or making sure that people have access to it for even they're making soups or cooking or whatever, lunch and all of that. We also, are proponents of people having water systems on their homes. If they are, going to be using their faucets to wash their hands, they need to only have water touching their body that's clean, that's safe for them to use. And so this company Culligan, who actually bought Zero Water, we were using Zero Water before Culligan bought it, the Zero Water filters, but Culligan also has systems for your home, and I can kind of vouch for the fact that they work pretty well. Okay. All right, so we're gonna kind of pop back over to our presentation, but I just really wanted you to see that because it could be something really simple, for you to be using that could protect your bodies and your family, bodies, I should say, from having some sort of incident with water. Okay. All right. So what are the common issues, the common water quality issues? Well, let's take a look and see. There are various factors that can contribute to poor water quality. These issues can be caused by natural sources, aging infrastructure, or contamination from external sources. Recently at the church where we attend, there was a situation where we had to check our water source and look at what is going on with the water. We had some leaks, but looking for the leaks actually led us to a place of where we found out that our pipes needed to be replaced. In some of the areas there was just a horrible set of circumstances that could lead to an incident, occurring, somebody being harmed because of the fact that what was coming through those pipes may not have been able to get through the pipes without contamination. And so when you notice that you have, the infrastructure has been around a long time, you got to make sure that you're checking to see if it was, what type of pipes there were, and if it wasn't PVC or something else that, has the ability to withstand some of the different types of germs and things, and it holds on to contamination. There's all kinds of issues there, or makes contamination because of the type of pipes that there are, then you just need to replace them. So the hardness of the water, excess minerals like calcium and magnesium also is a characteristic that we need to pay attention to, because although calcium and magnesium are really good for us, in excess they could cause a problem. So if your water source is very hard, then you might want to consider water softeners or some other types of things to help to make sure that you're not being harmed by the hardness of the water. Another thing is the cloudiness caused by the particles. Okay, the turbidity, you cannot always know what is causing that cloudiness. So testing your water is a really good thing. And so we have, some little water testers that we use to test our water. And some of those are really, really not that expensive. Sometimes you can use water test strips, which will also, give you the ability to know what's going on in your water source. Okay. And then, disinfection byproducts. Sometimes people have a very hefty chemical compound mix that they put in the water to try to clean the water and make it potable or make it good for people to drink and use. And so, unfortunately, during the disinfection process of the water, there are byproducts that are left behind. And those byproducts could end up being an issue for you as well, because even though now, yes, the water is drinkable, it could also have other things in it that could be an issue for you. Okay, then microbial contamination, presence of harmful bacteria, viruses, or parasites. That is an issue in the water. And so you have to really be careful that you do what's necessary to get your water clean and keep it clean. Okay. And sometimes that could be a situation that's a little different than what you might have expected, but it's something that is necessary. Okay. All right. So let's kind of take a look at, what it is that we can do. Well, let's look at our potential risks first, and then we'll look at what we can do concerning this. So poor water quality can pose a range of health and safety risks, from mild discomfort to serious illnesses. And when you are ensuring a safe water supply is essential for your customers and your employees and yourselves, you are going to be monitoring things to make sure that you are able to see when something is happening. But sometimes if things are missed or there's an issue, you might see these things: gastrointestinal issues, which could be diarrhea, vomiting, and nausea, which could be caused by poor quality water. Skin irritations, rashes, itching, and dryness. Those could all be caused by poor quality water. Respiratory problems, coughing, wheezing, shortness of breath also could be caused by poor quality water. And then there, of course, could be some long-term health effects like kidney damage, cancer, or even neurological disorders. When the water is poor quality and you're drinking it for a longer period of time, it could cause all of these issues. Now, one of the issues that's not here that we have been able to recently find out about is the brain fog, complete disorientation, mentally, temporary though it might be, but that has been attributed to poor quality water. So it's very important for you, if you have the ability to do so, to make sure that your water is of good quality. So what are some of the regulatory requirements for water quality? Well, the regulations and standards are placed to ensure that our water is safe and healthy. But not all businesses comply. Sometimes we don't necessarily do the things that we should be doing, like testing our water, to protect our employees and to protect our customers and the environment. We're not always making sure that if we have water filters, that we are replacing them in a timely fashion, and some of us don't necessarily look at what's available, readily available to us through the EPA to see what the standards are, so it's important, for you to be thinking about what are the national drinking water standards and how can I make sure that I'm in compliance with those with my company. Some people are, sending their people out in the field and they provide, water in the field. Some of that water may not have been tested, which is one of the reasons why I ended up with water poisoning where I went, because I drank well water, and the well was supposed to be maintained by the owner of the well, who was running a ministry, and it was not. Okay. So let's just say that having things in place, if you're rural and you have some requirements that are being, given you to make sure that the water quality is drinkable, then you need to make sure you're doing your part to take care of the people that are coming to your establishment every day. All right. State agencies also implement and enforce water quality regulations. And so there are certain things that they require. If you have a water tank on site, there's certain things you have to do with that water that's in that tank to make sure it's drinkable and usable. Okay. And so this is one of the areas that we have to be aware of. And then the local authorities may have additional requirements based on local conditions, because if there is a situation where there are contaminants that may be in the well water, then it might be a part of something that you have to be paying attention to, that you're responsible for, to meet the local requirements. Okay. So monitoring and testing water quality. Well, regular monitoring and testing are essential to identify any potential problem. Sometimes we find that, people who test their water coming right out of the faucet are able to identify things faster than, the water systems that are being put in place by the city or the county or the state, because the water, if it's becoming contaminated after it leaves their location and through the pipes, it goes, and now it's at your home, and you've tested, and then you find some type of contaminant that was not, identified previously. It could be that something's happening in between the time that it leaves the location where it was and the time that it gets to you, and you might be key to helping identify that. So monitoring your water is good for your health, but it's also good, for your community. Okay, having a chemical analysis which tests for contaminants like metals, chemicals, and pesticides is one set of testing that could be done. And then also checking, for microbial harmful contaminants is a very important thing as well. Bacteria, viruses, and parasites. And then the physical analysis, which is literally looking at the temperature, looking at the cloudiness, looking at the odor and the color of your water. You can really tell a lot there. Improving water quality in business locations is going to be key. Implementing strategies to improve water quality can protect your employees and enhance business operations and comply with regulations. Consider proactive measures to address these. Okay. And so let's kind of look at what that could be. Preventative maintenance. What can you do as a person who is able to control what's happening with your water in your location, your office, or even your home? Well, the one thing you can do is inspect and, maintain your plumbing systems to prevent leaks and corrosion and contamination. Like I said, if we hadn't been looking for one thing at the church, we never would have found the other thing that was a problem. And so, sometimes, by way of default, you end up finding a problem. But if you're regularly monitoring, then you don't have to concern yourself with, having things that just pop up and you're not knowing it, so, unless it's just an emergency, sometimes, those things happen. But for the most part, if you're maintaining and you're constantly checking every so many months, then you're going to see when a problem is building most of the time. Okay. Water treatment systems. Installing water treatment systems to remove the impurities is a very good thing if you have the opportunity to do it, because you're putting the treatment system on the water source that's going into the building. So generally, if you can put a water treatment system in your business that actually catches the water before it gets into your facility, then that is amazing, because it can clean it then, it removes the impurities and contaminants, and it ensures now that you have the water coming into the building that you're washing your hands with and you're drinking, to be a good source for, having clean and clear water. Okay. So let's take a look also at this other concept here of making sure that people in your company are educated. When you train your employees on water quality best practices, whether that be washing their hands or reporting any issues, this could have overarching results. Other people that are coming to your company could be now, better aware when they see in the restroom a sign that says wash your hands. Okay. Or when they see a sign, if you have drinking fountains or other types of dispensers, putting some key practices very near that to tell people how to engage with the spout and how not to put their fingers in places where it could create, more bacteria issues, than the water itself creates. Okay. So, you want to make sure that you're educating people as to how to utilize equipment, how to wash their hands, how to make sure that if water testing is a part of someone's job, that they're doing it in the right, time frames. Okay. All right. So water filtering, this is a very important thing. So maybe you don't have the ability to put a system on your building, but you can create, the ability to utilize water filters, water pitchers, or water dispensers that have water filtering involved in the ecosystem of that device. Okay. So it removes the impurities and contaminants and unwanted substances to make the water safer for the consumption of others and and other uses that they might have. And so there's different kinds of filters, that address specific contaminants like chlorine, heavy metals, bacteria, so having a carbon system over, some other type of system, is just a personal preference. But having a system that is the filter itself, involved in making sure that it's filtering out whatever you can to make your water safer for others to drink is important. Then when you choose the filter, try to choose the filter depending on the business's needs and the water quality challenges that you're having. Because some filters, they only last for a shorter period of time because they're filtering out more of the solids, or the type of filter it is, it only, or for that matter, the amount of water that you're using, you might have to use more of these filters and pay, for more filters per month based on the filter that you choose. So really choose wisely so that you can afford to be consistent with your water filtering. But the benefits of filtering are that they promote a healthy workplace, they prevent waterborne illnesses, and ensure regulatory compliance. So here's the benefit of maintaining good water quality. When you invest in water quality for your business, it promotes employee well-being and reduces operational disruptions. People don't get sick nearly as much when they have access to clean, safe, and water that don't have bacteria on them, or when you have water. I should even say, like in your restrooms, having the ability for people to go in and not have to touch anything to turn the water on. That's a huge benefit. If that's something that you can make happen, you really should, because it reduces the amount of touch points in the restroom, and it makes it so that you can keep a healthier workplace. And then of course you can reduce illness and absenteeism and boost productivity, when you have a healthier workforce. Okay. You can reduce cost. It minimizes repairs and equipment replacements due to water damage. You can improve reputation, in your community when people know that you are promoting safety and health and environmental responsibility because of how you are making sure that there's good water quality at your location, then they choose you. Okay. And we've been on this choose you factor, for a few weeks now, giving people a reason to choose your company. All right. Enhanced sustainability, having the ability for water, reducing water consumption and waste is important, and promoting environmental stewardship. Those things are very, very important. Okay, so let's look at some resources and next steps. Well, for more information and guidance on water quality, I'm going to send you to places where you can just learn more about what compliance is in our country and how we can make sure that we're taking advantage of things that are available to help us, create a better workplace and to have better water quality. So I'm sending you to the EPA because I know that this is a very good place to go, to gain access to information about water regulations. And then also the local water utilities in your city, in your county, or municipality, wherever your water is being provided. There's also very good information, water quality reports for your city and community, water regulations and compliance. In some places they are in a drought, so they have certain types of regulations that, with regards to how much water a person can gain access to. So this is really going to be important for you to take advantage of. So, you want to make sure that you are able to take advantage of this. And we really do appreciate you for being on with us today. And we want to make sure that you're here tomorrow, because tomorrow we'll be talking about tech in the workplace that makes it easier for you to do what you do every day. But thank you for being here with us today, and we'll see you again next time.